Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Bits episode. You join us for the first time using our half-complete podcast setup in the track. We had a great setup previously at the hub in Colorado, but we moved to North Carolina, and now we literally just set this up a few hours ago. And we're here to share some pretty exciting news, and it has to do with Slate, a car company that we're all excited for here at Out of Spec. This is sort of a back to basics, bare bones, electric SUV and pickup truck that's going to be like as base as you can get a vehicle these days. It's kind of cool, should be kind of rugged, kind of cool for projects around maybe here at the track or at the farm. And it's a brand that's, of course, new and we're so excited for. The big news is we know the price. If you guys remember previously, the price for Slate was like $27 and a bit, and they were going to have the $7,500 tax credit that went away. And the big story was this was going to be a $19,000 or just under 20 grand electric pickup truck. And that kind of shocked the industry. And since then, we've seen some news from other electric small pickup truck brands out there like Tello. That's much more expensive and kind of quirky and fun and cool, but I'm really excited for that if that turns out to be a reality. And also, more importantly, I'd say, is the Ford Universal EV, which is the new, cheap, low-cost, fully integrated Ford next generation electric vehicle product that I think is really going to potentially take over this small electric pickup truck market. So I have in the background just a small image of what's called the blank slate running in the background. And that's like a no optioned vehicle. That means no radio, no navigation, crank windows. What else, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, basically nothing.
Basically nothing.
Bare bones, just a drivetrain with a basic vehicle shell. Yeah.
So the big news, let's get into it. I'm just going to pull up the press release right here for everyone, is the price. $24,950 makes it the most affordable truck in America. And as far as we can tell, the sixth cheapest new vehicle on sale in our market. Comp, you are a practical man. What did that price, does it feel pretty good to you?
I didn't know how I felt until I looked at numbers on what adjusted for inflation and what a 98 Ranger would be back then.
And?
Spot on. Like 98 Ranger would have been like 12 grand. That's adjusted to like 24/7.
So it's basically what a new at the time base Ranger.
Base Ranger. Yeah, exactly. You could get into the top ends of like 15 grand and that's like 31 adjusted. So we're going to see top end around mid 30s.
Well, we'll see if you're judging by your Ranger thing. There's a bunch of accessories, by the way. I actually have the details somewhere. I'll pull it up throughout the episode, but hundreds of accessories, many of them, 80% of them under $500, which is kind of cool that you can get kind of cheapish accessories. And I believe there's over 80 accessories that are over $500, which would be big modifications. And I think that's kind of cool is that they're starting off with this slate, a blank slate, and you can build the vehicle as you wish. Now, my appeal would be to get one as stripped out as you could possibly get it, run that for some time, and then add some necessary modifications. Because what would kind of suck is if you get a base one and it really is a bit too base and you need to add $5,000 worth of stuff, and then you may as well just buy one of the Ford pickup trucks that has a radio and navigation and everything else in it. Are you guys looking for an opportunity to drive off in a brand new electric vehicle and support a nonprofit fighting for a greener planet? Well, I've got the program for you. Our friends at the CCAN Action Fund are back with their 8th annual EV raffle program, and it is so much fun. I'm going to tell you why you've got to enter. Each ticket gives you 3 chances to enter, and the prizes are absolutely amazing. You could win in the first prize a Rivian, a Porsche, or a Lucid up to $115,000, which is a ton of electric car. The second prize is also awesome. Rivian R2, highly anticipated, or you could choose from a Volkswagen ID Buzz or a Hyundai Ioniq as well. And there's even a third prize, which is the fantastic new Chevy Bolt. Each ticket costs only $200. Again, 3 chances to win with each purchase, and you're supporting a nonprofit. What's not to love? I don't even know which one I would choose if I was able to win. So ditch the high gas prices if you happen to win, and you support a nonprofit along the way. It's a great opportunity to visit evraffle.org to enter. Thanks so much to CCAN Action Fund for sponsoring this video. They even cover state and federal taxes. What's your initial reaction to the price, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly well within the top 10 vehicles of any kind, at that price point, and it will be the cheapest electric vehicle at that price point, at least as far as MSRP is concerned. So I think that's a pretty attractive proposition for sure. But the other thing that's kind of neat is with the options, the way that it's set up is it's kind of designed to be able to be retrofittable with basically every option that you can get it with. I mean, it seems like that's really kind of what they're marketing it as, is that you can self-install all of the options that you want. You don't have to spec it with the options that you want at the time that you get it. You can add all that stuff later on, which you can't do with a lot of other vehicles.
Right. I think that's kind of a really cool idea, more or less. So let's run through the press release really quick. The biggest thing right up front really speaks to, I think, what Comp looks for in a vehicle. It's an innovative modular platform for customization, fewer than half the parts of a typical truck, tactile controls, no touchscreen, built for the millions of hardworking people looking for a vehicle that will adapt to their changing needs without breaking the bank. How does that tagline sound?
It sounds like if it delivers, then it's solid. It's one of the best things written about what needs to come for people, how pivotal just being able to do your job and get the work done day to day is.
Yeah, I mean, up to this point, electric pickup trucks have been F-150 Lightning, Rivian, Silverado, Sierra, Hummer, and Cybertruck. And those are all like 50 plus grand for the most part. Many of them in the $70,000 to $80,000 range, and some in the triple digits. That's a lot of money, and these people are not working them as work trucks. You occasionally see a Silverado work truck or an F-150 Lightning out there, but this really could be the second or third vehicle in the garage. And I don't think any of us would say 25 grand is cheap, but it's cheap for a car.
Yeah.
A brand new car.
Okay, so Slate sells direct to consumer, huge benefit, assuming they can pull it off correctly. I do not like going to a dealer to buy a car, and you can order it as a pickup or an SUV and convert it after purchase. Slate offers two SUVs, a squareback and a fastback. Those start at 30 grand, $29,950. Why is it $5,000 for a roof cap, Alex?
That's a pretty good question, but I guess that there's more than just the roof cap, right? They've got rollover structure, seats, probably a few other things that kind of go along with occupancy safety things. I kind of wonder what the airbag situation is like for backseat passengers. If there's a curtain airbag of any sort, or yeah, I don't know. But I mean, I guess there's multiple different things that go into that, I suppose.
Yeah, and I mean, once you start getting up into that territory, I mean, Ford, we all are talking about their UEV as a pickup truck, but that's a whole platform, a family of vehicles.
Right.
And if those started around 30 grand and come with a bunch of stuff, it could be hard for Slate to find their niche. I mean, if they're going cheap, it's really kind of an interesting play to go really cheap, but these are, like if this was 19 grand, like we were originally thinking, that'd be a different story. Now we're talking 29,950. That's the same price of a new Bolt. Wes, I'll come to you in a second. We just tested the new Chevy Bolt, we should say. So if people are looking for cheap transportation, you can get like the cheapest new car is a Hyundai Venue, just over 20 grand. Then it's like Elantra, Sentra, that Corolla type of category. A base Corolla is basically the same price as this truck is base. But the Chevy Bolt is 29. That's the cheapest new electric car on sale in our market. You can buy them new from dealers for $23,000. One benefit of direct-to-consumer is no haggle. You just pay for what you get. One benefit of going through dealers is they've got to move inventory and they'll throw cash on the hood. And so, Wes, for 23 grand for a new Bolt publicly listed, maybe you could even get a little bit of a sweeter deal. I mean, that comes with a radio. That comes with power windows. What's your impression now, putting it into perspective of that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the hard things with this is going to be with dealers. You have all the disadvantages we all hate, but like especially GM, the Equinox, the Bolt, you can get sometimes $10,000 off of MSRP of these cars, and so if it's going to be interesting if you can get a Bolt for 23, and then this comes out, and it's like, well, for me at least, for some use cases, I'm like, well, a Bolt can do a lot of the things you need to do if you just need to haul stuff or move things around. I mean, at least for me, I had a Bolt. I did pressure washing stuff with it, believe it or not. And so I don't know. It's I'm kind of on the fence about it right now. It feels like I need more information and more to, of course, down the road to test and see. But I think it's obviously a good value in the spectrum of new cars and where inflation is. That's just the price of cars now. But yeah, they'll still have to deliver for me a little bit. Not having a radio and being so bare bones is hard for me to wrap my head around right now until I get more hands on with it, I think.
And to some consumers, maybe comp being one of them, that's like an attractive selling point. You're like, get me the most base thing you can get.
Yeah.
So much less to fail, and it looks cool. I would much be rather seeing in a tiny truck than a Bolt.
Right, sure. Absolutely.
It's rad.
So it kind of pulls at the
It's
heartstrings.
super cool.
Yeah.
Like little trucks are cool.
All right, let's run through more details. Charge less, drive more. They say they've increased range by 37% over the originally communicated range, I guess, because they don't have a current product on sale. And it's now an estimated range of 205 miles. And I'm guessing it's based on an approximation of the EPA tests cycle for the blank slate truck and is not an official EPA estimated range value. This is very common where automakers will pre-estimate the range in their own simulated drive loop that they expect to get in the EPA test. They are not saying if they're running 2-cycle, 5-cycle, and what the situation will be there. But I love this line right here. Wes, they said, increased range by 37% to an estimated range of 205 miles because Slate customers love to drive. They do not have customers at the moment.
Yeah, that's kind of an interesting thing. Also, if that is true, are we saying that their originally communicated thing was 37% less than 205?
I don't remember it being 150 mile range.
I think that they were originally saying the base one was going to have a 150 mile range.
Oh, maybe it was 150.
The base one. But there was always going to be a big battery option.
Right. I think that, well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but I know that they were originally saying that the base version, they were planning on having 150 miles of range.
Okay. Now, we do have a video on the Slate. It did really well, by the way. Our colleague and friend Timon and Isaiah actually went to the Slate original launch and covered this vehicle, and I was really shocked as to the level of interest in this thing when they first covered it. So hopefully that still is the case, and I can't wait to get one, play around with it, and maybe end up buying one. Maybe comp.
Dude, so it's so much like wait for what Ford has to come out with, because it's almost like you're stuck with Ford then if you buy what Ford comes out with. So it's like get something that's a little bit different price for risking it for a new company.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, the whole new company thing, we don't know how they're going to build out their sales network or service network or how that's going to look totally. But they say that you can have a tow rating of up to 2,000 pounds right now, which is laughably low. And a payload capacity is risen to 1,550 pounds, which is pretty good. That's only 500 pounds less than the Cybertruck. Actually, it's like 400 and something pounds less than the Cybertruck. So that's pretty good payload. And the 2,000 pound tow rating, though, Alex, that's not good.
Yeah, it seems like it's not that great. I mean, especially considering how high the payload capacity is in comparison to the size of the vehicle, you'd think the towing capacity would be a bit better. Be nice if they could bring it up to towing capacity of some of the kind of smaller SUVs, say 3,000, 3,500 pounds. But 2,000 pounds, there's not really much that you could tow that's going to be 2,000 pounds or less.
I mean, they were like, tow a pair of jet skis was their thing. But like, what else could you come up with? I mean, tow air if you want to.
Right.
You could not tow a Miata the track day weekend. You can't really tow much. 2,000 pounds is not much.
No, I mean, you could tow a little utility trailer with, some gardening equipment or, do a Home Depot run, but that's probably about it.
I think the big news here is just the support of the aftermarket and the customization and sort of the OEM plus parts, if you will. They have 175 accessories available. 80 are under $500. So that's the correct number there. So 80 under $500, many over $500. They include roof racks, stereos, zip-off seat covers, and light covers. Over 100 wrap colors available at launch. We have no idea of what the exact accessory breakdown and pricing will be. For example, if you want one in blue or green, it might actually cost a few grand to get it wrapped like it would for a normal vehicle. So we're just unsure how that process is going to look yet, but they say that you can get it wrapped professionally and affordably in hours, not days. Oh, actually, you know what? They do. No freaking way. Wes, Comp, Alex, they say full vehicle wraps cost under $500.
Wow. That's very cheap.
Wow.
How do they do that?
Do they have like printed out pieces that they can just stick on there and kind of keep things moving?
Probably so. I mean, that's unheard of.
I think that most of the body panels are kind of designed to be removable, if I kind of remember right. And I mean, based on the looks of it, all the body panels look to be like
square.
pretty flat panels. So wrapping it should be pretty simple, I would think.
That's pretty cool. And here we go. Let's talk about design and repair, or designed simply and fixed simply. So Alex, I want to come to you for this section. It says DIY is in Slate's DNA, engineered from the ground up to be America's least expensive vehicles to purchase, insure, and service. You can do most repairs yourself using Slate U as your guide. A 10-year, 110,000-mile battery and powertrain warranty has you covered. Access to a network of 3,000 plus Repair Pal shops around the country, including over 100 service centers that can perform high voltage EV service. Because your Slate should be easy to understand and repair, and you should call the shots on who works on it, not the car companies. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that's great. I think that leaning into the serviceability aspect is pretty important in my opinion. I mean, I'm definitely a big advocate of right to repair, running a repair shop myself. So I'm definitely into that. And there's not very many companies that are really pushing for repairability. So I think that's a pretty important thing for longevity of any vehicles on the road, is being able to actually fix them.
Comp, what's your opinion of that? Because that feels like you wrote that, if you could.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. The ability to DIY and create, I want just bare metal on the inside.
That sounds like that's what you're going to get.
Exactly. And doesn't seem that bad at the price. So,
my concern on some of this would be just, okay, maybe if you've got a rattle, maybe if you've got a seat fix, these Repair Pal shops could do it. Potentially they'll treat battery as a swappable item and send them off for remanufacturing. That's very common. We see most automakers doing, and treat each of the high voltage components as a module rather than a repairable item. I wonder how that would work outside of warranty. And I wonder what type of diagnostic software will be available third party. That's something that I think we'll be covering closely. Have you heard any rumblings on this at all, Alex?
I haven't really heard anything about it at all. So that'll be, I mean, it seems like if they're pushing for the customizability and repairability aspect, I would certainly hope that they are working towards having diagnostic software available for people to be able to use. Whether it's going to be, a subscription-based model that you're going to have to pay for it, or if you're just an owner, if you get access to it for free, which, kind of sounds like it would be sort of a dream come true for repairability. I don't know if I'd hold my breath for that, but if they can at least have an affordable, inexpensive, option for diagnostics, that would certainly be a huge benefit.
And what are some of the things that you'll be looking at to potentially go wrong on a car this simple?
Well, that's one of the things that's kind of the beauty of it, is that there's not a lot to go wrong. I mean, obviously you still have all the parts of it being a car, right? It still has suspension and wheel bearings and, all of your hinge points for doors and all that kind of thing. And then, of course, you have your powertrain, right? So your motor, your batteries, any of the electronics or control things associated with that. But hopefully they've got that stuff dialed in, and hopefully it'll hold up.
Yeah, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Wes, you can pre-order your Slate on slate.auto for $300. How's that sound?
Trying to think about what that's comparable to.
Well, so reservation holders who have already paid $50, the pre-order cost is now reduced by $250. That $50 goes towards your $250 official pre-order. And first deliveries are expected in Q4 2026. And ahead of your delivery date, you'll be able to personalize and purchase your Slate. So like Rivian R2, I just put a pre-order down, for example. That was a $100 refundable initial.
Okay.
So Slate was $50. And then I had to put another $400 down to reserve the R2. Here, it's an additional $250. So less than Rivian, at least.
That seems reasonable in the last stages of getting ready to make your car and get it. So, yeah.
This is going to be
typical.
the kind of the make or break for them, don't you think, Alex? Where it's like, okay, well, for $50, let's reserve 10 of them. I don't know, right? And see what happens. Now that we have final pricing, now that we have final specs, which we're going to get into the specs here in a minute, it really seems like we'll have a good idea of the conversion ratio of, at least whittle down a significant portion of people to drop the extra $250. What do you, if you had to guess a percentage of people to follow through, what do you think that number would be?
I mean, it seems like a lot of the people who, put in sort of the initial, early interest $50 deposits. I mean, just based on kind of some of the stuff I've seen online, a lot of people are really excited about it and interested in it. But yeah, I don't even know what conversion rates usually are for this kind of thing. So I guess it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, it's hard to guess a number as well. I have no idea, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they announce what those are or not. We're going to get into battery specs and charging times and all of the, suspension chassis setup in this segment now. But I want to talk about the exterior dimensions really quick. This thing is 174.6 inches long. To put that in comparison of other vehicles, let's look up what other stuff is. Do you know offhand any vehicle lengths that we could use as a comparable basis?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay, let me pull up some. So what is a Ford F-150 length Lightning? Because that's going to be a crew cab long bed. That's 232 inches. What is a Tesla Model 3 length? Tesla Model 3 length is 185 inches. I think Model S length is 201. Nope, 197. So it's shorter than a Model 3.
Right. And I mean, it does look like it's quite short for sure.
What is a Ford Maverick length?
Also, the new Bolt is 169.6 inches long.
Okay, so it's a little bit longer than the new Bolt. Wow, a Maverick's 200 inches?
So Maverick's longer than a Model S.
How is that possible?
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that seems pretty interesting for sure. By the way, if you're a viewer watching from the outside, I'm playing around with all of our camera views at the moment because there's so many different ones to choose from. We're going to paint this room a color as well. So comment below what you'd like to see. We literally just put everything in here today. Okay, so anyway, it's pretty short. Let's just put it that way. That's pretty short. Let me pull up some more details for the people. The width is 78.1 inches with mirrors. If you take the mirrors off, it doesn't say mirrors folded. It just says without mirrors. It is 70.6 inches. It's 67 inches high, or 68 inches if you have the pickup truck. So the pickup truck is a half inch taller than the SUV.
Okay.
Is that just the extra weight squat in the suspension, do you think?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay.
I would assume so.
Or some part of the SUV goes up.
Well, the
Just a little
SUV
bit.
is shorter.
Oh, the SUV is shorter. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I assume it must be the weight bringing it down just a touch. On the length thing, there's actually another thing that I kind of wanted to mention, and I've noticed some other people kind of comment on this online too. And it's kind of especially noticeable if you look at like the side profile of the truck.
Mhm.
The proportions of it look a little bit off, and I think it would be really cool if they had the option to add like an extra foot to the bed length behind the rear wheels, because it's like super stubbed off at the back end. And it
Well,
would really make it a lot more usable if the bed was just a little bit longer.
so the bed's 5 feet,
Right.
what's a Rivian? 4.5?
Probably.
And so, yeah, this is 60.5 inches with the bed tailgate up, 80 inches with the tailgate down.
Right.
And so you'd say, let's go full 6-foot bed
Yeah,
on
go-
this thing.
6-foot bed. Just like a Ranger or an S10 or whatever would have had back in the day.
Maybe we should talk about that. We didn't bring up much about the Rangers and S10s, but we actually own electric Ranger and S10s
Indeed.
from the early 2000s and late 90s.
Yes.
What we looked up the equivalent cost of a Ford Ranger EV, which a lot of people don't even know was the thing. It's a
Right.
very short run, limited production,
Yeah.
carb era EV. What was the actual list sticker price of the Ford Ranger EV in what year?
They came out in 97 and they went through 2001.
What year is ours?
I think it's a 2000 if I remember right, but it could be 99 or whatever, but it's in that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the original list price for a Ranger EV, which you couldn't really buy one, they were essentially lease only. Although there were some government entities and stuff at the bottom, but the list price for it was $52,000.
And in today's money,
In today's money, that'd be over $100,000
for a Ranger.
for a Ranger with crank windows and rear wheel drive, 90 horsepower, and like 60 miles of range.
So like essentially like close to what this offering would be.
Right.
This is better and it's a quarter of the price.
Significantly better for a quarter of the price. Yes.
Right. Okay.
There's actually some interesting similarities between the Ranger and this too.
yeah?
On some of the other sort of powertrain related things.
Like what?
The big thing's the Didion axle, which we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, but we can talk about it. That's fine. So both use a Didion.
Yes. Some slight differences. The Ranger actually used leaf springs, just like they normally would have with a solid axle in the rear. This uses coil springs with a Didion axle, but some similarities there.
So you could say it's like a G-Wagon.
It's like a G-Wagon or an E-Sprinter,
Right.
or a Ranger EV.
There you go. How about that? That's pretty cool. McPherson strut up front on this, I guess similar in the Ranger as well.
Ranger actually would have used torsion bar front suspension.
Oh,
'cause
okay.
On the Ranger EVs, they actually built them on the four-wheel drive Ranger platform.
Okay, interesting. I don't think I've really looked up underneath our Ranger ever, but that's worth a video coming up. We have a whole restoration project coming. It would be cool to do Slate versus our old S10 and Ranger.
That would be cool.
So hopefully we can get those up and running here pretty soon. That'll
Yeah.
be an Alex project coming up. The big thing comes down to the bed space. So we already said it's basically a 5.04 foot. It's 60 and a half inch bed. With the tailgate down, it's 80.7 inches. The bed width minimum between the wheel wells, because of course the wheel wells take up some of the bed space, is only 43.9 inches, which actually isn't that bad. So
Yeah.
what is that in feet? So 43.9 divided by 12.
That'd be
Three,
about 3.5.
yeah, 3.65.
Just a touch over, yeah.
That's between the wheel wells.
Yes, and
So-
then above is 59 inches. So 59 divided by 12 is 5 feet. So it's almost a square.
It's almost a square.
That's pretty cool.
But tailgate down, you can get a 4x8 sheet in there.
What do you think about that, Wes?
Seems, I would definitely love to see the 6-foot bed. That's one thing I loved about older Ranger S10 was that you had a massive bed for a work truck. That's what you need. And then small cab. But I think that's reasonable for the size of the vehicle. I mean, obviously you're not going to get much bigger than that. So yeah, like you said, I think you can fit plywood. You get all the basics you need. You're not going to be hauling crazy things with that. But yeah, I think it's going to work for most of what it needs to do.
Okay, let's get into the weight of this thing. If you had to guess the weight of the Slate, what would you guess? The blank slate, no option one.
I'm going to guess 3,800 pounds.
Wes, what's your guess?
I'm I'm trying to think modern safety systems and rollover safety. That's all a factor in weight. I don't know, 33.
All right. What's your guess?
I was gonna go a little higher, maybe like 44.
4,400.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, good news is you've straddled the number. So it's in between them. This thing weighs 4,048 pounds.
It's a lot more than
Okay.
I would have thought.
Yeah, that's
To
more than
be
I would have thought by a lot.
Blank.
I was
slate.
with you. I was thinking
Yeah.
like 3,200 pounds
Yeah.
in that
Wow.
region. This
Yeah.
thing's 4,048 pounds.
2 ton.
So that's
And it
right. 2
can't tow
tons.
more than 2,000 pounds.
Exactly. Max
That's half
tow.
of its weight.
That's max tow on the pickup. The SUV can tow even less. So the pickup truck weighs 4,048. The SUV, which I think no one's going to get the SUV for 29 grand. That's a lot more money. But
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know. But that's 4,335 pounds,
So the SUV kit adds 300 pounds, basically.
roughly. And that also affects your payload proportionally. So the GVWR of any Slate, the max it could weigh loaded to the legal limit is 5,689 pounds. That leaves you a payload of 1,550 pounds on the pickup truck or 1,263 pounds on the SUV. Again, a vehicle wrap, a water bottle, a stereo, a power window, a heated seat, what are those? Like a little snack bar that you get. That all goes against your GVWR number. You can't go over it. So anything you add to it will come, your payload maximum will be lessened. And we do a lot of putting stuff in vehicles between the farm and working here at the track. We try to stick at factory recommendations for a lot of stuff. I really think people are going to overload these things when they start loading up the bed, Alex.
Maybe so. I mean, it does still seem like a pretty high payload for the size of vehicle. I mean, what's the total payload capacity of like a Bolt? How much weight can you put in a Bolt?
It can't be much. It's got to be like 700-800 pounds.
Yeah.
I mean, a Model S is like 800 pounds.
Right.
You can't even put 4 people in that car.
Right. 4 people in a Model S is like fully, that's maxed out.
Yeah.
Can't even put luggage in.
And clearly you see them going down
Right.
the road like fully loaded.
People still put plenty more weight than that in it.
So maybe ignore that. But what I do think is kind of the problem is towing at 2,000 pounds. That's where we're probably going to see most overloading situations. And then the SUV max tow is only 1,824 pounds.
Yeah. That's definitely not a lot.
No. So I think that might be the biggest bummer out of everything that I've seen so far.
Right.
But honestly, if people are using them as commuters or you're using it as a daily truck or a garden vehicle or parts, like you work at Napa and you're just moving auto parts back and forth or literally countless, things you could do with it, it's going to be just fine. Let's talk about the power and propulsion system. So this is a single motor, no shock, but nice to see it rear drive. That's pretty cool. And it uses a LFP battery pack, which is also a really nice surprise. What's your opinion of that, Wes?
I think that's great for this kind of use case where you just want to, especially with the range you're going to get, you just want to charge it every day and use it. That is exactly where LFPs need to be. And that actually might help me explain some of that weight. I did not realize I had LFP, so that would make sense, a little more sense with the weight on it. But
Yeah, that's a good shout. Yeah.
I think for and for use cases like government, city use, stuff like that, where you literally just need the most basic thing to move things or just city work around moving weed eaters and things like that. I actually could be a really good use for that kind of stuff.
So the battery pack capacity is gross capacity 65 kilowatt hours, which is a pretty big battery for this thing. I mean, a Model 3 LFP was 60. Just 60.
Just 60 flat.
Okay. So it's got, 65 kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I mean, that's more than I was thinking.
Yeah.
And maybe they just nixed the base battery.
Yeah. Or I guess they just, nixed the base battery or just increased it Yeah.
Yeah,
Whatever the case may be.
Is there any word on whether they have a longer range? Or is
not
this just
yet. But at the time this recording goes live, I believe the configurator also goes live.
Right.
And so we're kind of dealing with preliminary information. A huge thanks to Slate, by the way, to Jeff over there for sending us this information under embargo. We really appreciate that. This is a company we want to cover closely. So I appreciate them inviting us to the launch and supporting all of this. And I can't wait to test everything into the future. Guess the 0 to 60 time. Go.
3.8.
Guess the 0 to 60 time.
5.9?
Guess the
I already know what it is.
Oh, okay.
It's 8 seconds.
Yeah,
Hell
I
yeah.
kind of figured it'd be pretty slow, honestly. I
That's,
was being hopeful with the 5 seconds.
that's kind of lame.
Yeah, it's kind of slow.
Yeah, it's
that's-
135 kilowatts peak output, which let's look up 135 kW. Hold on one second. 135 kW.
If you rewired it, you could get 3.8.
It's 181 horsepower.
Okay. Yeah. So
Well, that's why you can't tow anything.
I mean, it's got torque. It's got torque.
No,
It's got
yeah,
264 Newton meters, whatever that means. This is America. I thought we could do pound feet, but yeah. Why are they measuring that in Newton meters?
Because it looks better.
I mean, it's very engineering.
it's a higher number.
Yeah, probably so. Okay, well, here's some good news on charging, actually. It uses a NAX port. It has an 11 kilowatt onboard charger, which is 48 amp.
Okay, that's pretty sweet.
I mean, they could have totally gotten away with a 32 amp onboard charger, and we would have not said a thing
Right.
for a 65 kilowatt hour battery pack. So 11 kilowatts good, which means pretty nice level 2 top ups. Especially for our use case where we're mostly going as a group. We all have level 2 chargers at all the houses, all of our places where we go, here at the office. That'll work really well. And then it DC fast charges at a peak of 120 kilowatts. So it's basically 2C charging, which is very lame, but it's only a half hour from 20 to 80%. So let's say it's 40 minutes, 10 to 80.
Right. So presumably pretty flat curve for charging.
Presumably, if it's only doing 120 kilowatts. Yeah.
Right. 120 kilowatts. Yeah. So it's going to have a pretty flat curve. Yeah.
I mean, it's fine. We're not looking for this thing to break any records, right? This is cheap. We're trying to go basic.
Right.
I think that's fine. But
It's acceptable.
you could certainly take it on a road trip. Like, it's going to be a little bit slower than even the new Bolt. It's going to be slower than mostly anything. But at least it's not like 50 kilowatt charging.
Right.
That would have been totally unacceptable. I mean, it's probably going to beat our old Model S's.
It seems very comparable, maybe a little better.
Yeah, I think so. We'll see what the efficiency is with the pickup truck. So what they say is level 3 DC, which always annoys me when people say that, because technically level 3 is high power AC charging it, isn't it, Alex? I'm pretty sure there's like a Euro level 3 AC charging thing.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on the market for that. But yeah, it's kind of a weird.
It's supposed to just be DC
just call
charging.
it DC charging. Yeah.
Exactly. So DC charging, 120 kilowatts, 20 to 80%, which is so dumb they rate that rather than 10 to 80 or 0 to 100 or whatever, half an hour. They also rate level 1 and level 2 charging times, and they gave different numbers for those. So they do level 1 is 20 to 80, like their DC charging time, okay? And that's 1.9 kilowatt.
Which would be on a 20 amp circuit.
Right, you would need a NEMA 520, not a normal NEMA 515. And I'm sure there's going to be so many outlets that say, well, if you plug it into a normal wall socket, that's not a normal wall socket.
Right. A normal wall socket, the most you can pull continuously is going to be about 1,400 watts.
Yeah, high 13s, right around 14, it'd be 12 amps, and assuming you have no voltage sag.
Right.
But a lot of times there are.
Yeah, you're usually going to have a bit of voltage sag on that.
So they say 17 hours to go from 20 to 80% on a NEMA 520. I'm going to say 20 hours on a normal wall plug would be my guess. And that's fine for like some people.
Yeah.
Especially with a small-ish battery. This is all about cheap. You should not go and spend a bunch of money to upgrade your home electrical. Make sure you have a nice, high-quality, just regular wall socket with all the clamps tightened down. It should be able to power this vehicle just fine living off a wall outlet if you're not consistently driving that often or do the occasional DC top-up.
Right. If you're driving 40, 50, 60 miles a day, 120 volts is going to get you by just fine.
Totally agree. And that's something I think we overlook a lot in our coverage. Level 2 AC is not listed 20 to 80%. That's listed 20 to 100%. Why?
That's a bizarre one to list that way.
Okay, that's only 4 hours because they have a pretty juicy 48 amp onboard charger in that thing. We already discussed some other stuff, but it's got McPherson strut up front, Dion in the back with coil spring, 17 by 7 inch steelies, an overall diameter of 29.5 inch, and the tire size is 245/65 R17, which should be a fairly cheap tire size.
Right. Seems like a pretty inexpensive, common, easy to find tire.
And in case you're losing sleep and want to know the turning circle of this vehicle, it is 37 feet. So that's all the details we got on the Slate.
And it looks cool.
Let me pull up the Slate website here. And we're going to get over to the Ford thing in a second. But right now, if you were to go over to Slate's website, I'm just going to pull it up here. By the time this podcast goes live, my guess is it's going to look different than what we're showing people at the moment. What we're showing at the moment is literally, and you guys can't see this, but it's just the blank dashboard. You see this here? It's just the blank dashboard with a literal phone mount.
That's all you need.
Or an iPad mount.
Yep.
And you've got just
classic dials for climate, and it's got headlights as long as it's legal, and you can put your JBL in there and
let it rip.
I mean, you got the things already, and you just need a truck to get you from here to there.
I mean, it's such a cool idea. I don't think it's as cheap as everyone wanted. Everyone had in their head $20,000, and we all knew it was going to get more expensive, but we did not know that they had some room to take it from 27 down to 25. So I think that's a very reasonable, and with a nice standard battery offering of 65 kilowatt hours or 63 usable, I think no one is going to complain about this whatsoever. This seems like a really cool thing. The SUV actually looks pretty damn good.
It's cute.
Yeah, and then you can get like a bunch of different, like the configurations are just insane on this thing. You can, I love this Cali Sunset version right here. Oh, grit and grind. They have all these pre-configured starter packs, and they're just so freaking fun. We might need to get 2 of these things and like get one that's crazy and one that's totally based out.
I vote we take one and we try to double its price with just
accessories.
Just add all of the options.
Okay, just put like a new Mac Studio in the trunk.
Yeah, there you go. Just one item.
Okay, so let's see. I like that they say level 3 480 volt fast charging.
Wake me when level 5 comes around.
Yeah, this level 3 thing.
But have you heard about level 6?
I want level 6.
Yeah, they have a funny looking EVSE in there as well. And I don't know. We should probably spend a little bit more time. It looks like they will also have access to Tesla superchargers, which is great, as you would expect. And
so NACS is confirmed?
NACS is confirmed, and supercharger access is confirmed. And I think plug and charge and some other stuff. Okay, let's talk about the main competitor to this that everyone's talking about, which is the Ford's Universal EV. And this is their platform that's going to be coming. I've pulled up like the most boring press release.
Well, it seemed like it had things.
Let's talk about this. So this is a truck that's not been revealed from a styling perspective. I think it's fair to say it's not going to look as cool as the Slate does. The Slate's got that sort of Rivian, that commanding, almost imposing boxiness that I think we all love. You know, like Jeep has a big following for that look. G-Wagons have a big following. And you'll notice even a lot of the Chinese SUVs are going for that upright, commanding, sort of boxy, I'm cool look. And the Slate's got that. I don't think the Universal EV is going to have that.
Doesn't seem like it.
It seems like it's going to be kind of a wedge.
I think it'll be more aerodynamic, I would imagine, by the way Ford's talking about it anyway.
Yeah, so they're going for max aero smallest battery. That whole idea falls apart as soon as you put a trailer on it or take it into the mountains or it gets really cold or you're driving high speed. Really, I mean, aero does help exponentially at high speed, but you know, getting the most amount of battery in a truck is kind of nice. We've experienced all of the electric trucks, and the ones with the biggest battery, the Sierra and Silverado, it's just, you don't worry about anything.
You haven't gotten to too much battery yet.
I mean, I think maybe Sierra and Silverado is 215 kilowatt hours.
Yeah.
That seems like just about right.
Yeah, not too much yet.
I mean, I agree with you, but I don't know what to think about this UEV. I worry that it's going to be, so like on one hand, I think it could be the smackdown to Slate where it's like, okay, here's one of the largest automakers with a full engineering team trying to make this as cheap and simple with giant castings and fully integrated, vertically integrated software that's just going to work. It's going to give you the Tesla experience, we hope, from a inexpensive $30,000-ish pickup truck, which, oh, by the way, you can choose your paint color and you'll have probably heated seats and
infotainment.
Yeah. And so it's like
lane centering.
I think if you go to the normal person and you look at a Slate, and we don't know what the accessories cost yet, but by the time you say, do you want a radio? And do you want like a screen? And do you want maybe not power windows? I think a lot of people will like the crank idea, especially if you're into the Slate thing. But like, let's say you need $2,000 worth of accessories just to get you to the point where the Ford starts. Now you've got a Ford that probably is going to be much more efficient, probably is going to have a much more built out service and sales experience compared to Slate. I think that could be a real problem for Slate. What do you think about that, Alex?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a hurdle for them to overcome. And I think another thing is that Ford has been saying that they're targeting a 300-mile range. I don't know if that's going to be on the base truck, but that's also another pretty significant bump too. But there's something to be said of it being, sort of a fully equipped vehicle. But I can certainly see the enthusiasm for the Slate. There's going to be people that are really interested in that, even if just for the looks and the simplicity and the repairability. So yeah, I guess time will tell, whenever we learn more about Ford's product, but yeah.
Yeah. And it really just comes down to what the average buyer is going to want, because both brands will have the initial wave of enthusiasm. Slate's got so many pre-orders. I mean, we're talking about it. Everyone's talking about it. It's just cool. There's no way around it. Regardless of the price, it is an interesting thought experiment to reduce a vehicle to the most minimum amount of things necessary to make it a saleable, safe, usable product. And that's exciting for a lot of people. It's not exciting for like my mom, but she wouldn't be in the market to buy a small pickup truck anyway. So it's possible Slate could work really well, and it's possible the UEV could work really well. And it's good to have choice and multiple competition. But I think if it gets to the point where Ford's like, okay, we're $2,000 more by the time you put some options on, so you get 100 miles more range, you get significantly faster charging, you get a path towards better autonomous features, potentially, I don't know. And it just seems like, oh, maybe the whole Slate thing it's a fun thought experiment, but maybe not where you're willing to drop your hard-earned cash. That could be a scenario. And it's something we'll be keeping our eye on to see what the general consumer sentiment is. We're going to be doing the comparison tests. We don't know much about the Ford product yet, but I know it was going to come up in the comment section. So I at least wanted to say, I hope that there's enough interest in both products to make them viable. Certainly, I'm not in the camp of one product should succeed and everything else should fail. Otherwise, we would not have jobs comparing and testing and looking at things. But that's kind of my view. I want to pull up a couple last photos of this thing. There's one on the sunset. It looks so cool. We'll probably make that our thumbnail for this video. And then here's another one where you can see the SUV and pickup truck back to back, except let me make that full screen for the viewers. There you go. It's, they're just cool. Kind of looks almost military-esque. And I love the idea that they just come as a blank slate and you can spec them however you want. So let's go through some final thoughts. Wes, final thoughts on the whole Slate thing, the pricing, the details, and the specs. What do you think?
I think, especially with comparing it to Ford, if Ford comes in with better charging, like you said, towing might be better, the thermals in the motor and battery systems. They might have spent a little more time engineering that, and that might be maybe that's where some of the better towing or lack of towing on the Slate is at. That it could definitely hurt them. It'll be really interesting to see how different it is, because they might be the same when towing or hauling, but the range is substantially more when you're not towing and hauling on the Ford. So I'm excited about it. I definitely like things like that, like quirky little, like very basic. I've always wanted like an electric truck, like an old Tacoma. I had a 2000 Tacoma, and so just the very bare bones ones of one of those. And I think so. It's exciting. I just hope that to get the basic options you need, it doesn't start pushing the price up to where it's like, I love the idea, but it's kind of just out of reach. It doesn't make sense because there are these other options. That is definitely where my biggest fear would be for them. But I mean, overall, I'm excited about it. I love little stuff like that. So yeah,
Very cool to hear. Comp, what do you think?
I think we're on the cusp of a tiny truck electric revolution.
It feels that way.
And it's almost going to be an Android, like iPhone battle for the next couple of years. I cannot wait for like a 10-year check-in from now.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. See if I just want to know if Tello makes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other one kind of to bring up in the tiny truck space is Tello. That's, another thing that we didn't really talk much about here, but
But hold on, how much is Tello? I'm just looking it up.
it's
Electric truck.
I think it's going to be pretty expensive, but it's also supposed to have some
It's 41 grand
yeah.
base, and that's with today's money. That's not even going through. Like
Right.
they announced that before they announced the supplier of who's going to build their shells. I think.
Right. Yeah. But it sounds like they're targeting some very impressive specs in terms of performance,
supposed to be great.
towing. I think they're saying they just posted a thing the other day. They're supposed to have sustained 400 kilowatt charging speeds. So, yeah, if they can bring it to market with the kind of specs, I think it'd be cool. But it's certainly going to be a lot more expensive.
I mean, yeah, that'd be pretty sick. I'm excited for the Tello, but you could have like two of these things.
I really like the looks of the Tello. It's just totally different.
And it's just so hard to know for sure if it is like a group of like 15 just awesome, really cool people. And I know a lot of them there that are just like have a great idea and they think they can do this. Or if it's like, oh, these are like, not only are they awesome people and they have a great idea, they're actually going to pull it off.
Yeah.
And that's, I'm just fingers crossed for them, but it just seems like an insurmountable task to do what they're trying to do. And that could be a really big win if they're able to pull it off. Okay, so final thoughts on the Slate, Alex.
Yeah, so I mean, I really like the idea of the customizability. Obviously, the price of it, at least, MSRP is going to be the cheapest EV on the market, bar none. That, of course, ignores any kind of potential discounts from other, dealers that sell vehicles from other automakers. But the cost is certainly attractive, and yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of it, and hopefully they can make it work. And I'm really excited to see the repairability aspect of it, because I think that's something that I would like to see a lot more of from other automakers.
Thanks for all of the insight there. I totally agree on the repairability, by the way. I think that is going to be something we need to look into. We should almost try to do some major repairs or fixes when we get one, if we get one, like as soon as possible.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, oh, let's simulate. Oh,
I want to get pitted.
yeah, like we got pit maneuvered on we got to put a new bed on this thing. Let's go see what that's like. Or, put a new motor in or a new battery or something like that.
Yeah. Actually, on the repairability thing, I think Ford's CEO just made a statement on not wanting people to repair their vehicles, which is like totally the opposite of what Slate's doing.
Yeah, I saw that. He was like, vehicles are too complicated and we don't want them fixing it. And it's like, what?
Yeah, just
that's
seems
problem.
crazy.
Yeah, totally agree. That seems disconnected from the realities of the cost of servicing stuff.
Right. Especially if you want products to last and, have any kind of longevity in the market. There has to be repairability for, that stuff to last. And if you want people to buy your products, you want them to last. You don't want it to be, in 8 years when it's out of warranty and there's not much manufacturer support in terms of parts and stuff, that it's just garbage.
Right. Which we are certainly going to see a lot of in the EV space.
Yeah.
So final thoughts from my side. I think they did a really good job getting the price down. It would have really been a tough one to stomach if it was still $27 and a bit thousand. So shout out to them for getting it under 25 grand. That's a major mental milestone. Under 20 is another even bigger one. I think we can all understand how they didn't get it that low, especially with such a nice size battery and motor and some other stuff. I mean, it's a real serious offering, I would say. And from my perspective, I think that this is going to have a really easy first year or two of sales. But let's say a complete unknown after that, because the competition's going to be heating up. The reliability of the vehicle and the service experience is very much an unknown, regardless of what the company says. We've seen so many brands launch saying one thing and the reality being the different. And in fact, that's almost more normal than things going to plan. So we really need to keep an eye on these guys, figure out, I would say, how the rollout's going, what the ownership experience is like. But ultimately, I think there's enough people to say, for 25 grand, I'm willing to take the risk. I love the idea. I like the sort of startup nature, even though a lot of people at Slate are from like existing automakers. There's a lot of Tesla people there. There's a lot of Stellantis people, a lot of GM, a lot of Ford. These people know how to build cars. It still is a new startup, and they are doing things way differently. So that could leave a lot of holes in the future of how this will go. So price looks good. Specs look great. The battery's bigger than I thought it was going to be. I bet you'll get every bit of that 200 miles in the real world, especially at low speed. I think this is going to be one of those vehicles where it'll be an under promise and over deliver based off of that battery pack. And because it's LFP, you can use 100% of it every day. Just full charge it, let it rip. No problems there. So with all that said, we'll leave you now from the new under construction podcast room, which will get sound deadening and new colors and new lighting. But thrilled to have our setup back and rocking. And when stuff happens, you'll just see the team, whoever's here at the track, pop up here, commentate on it, and get back to filming more videos for you guys. With all that said, it's 11 p.m. This video goes up at 8 a.m. Thanks for watching. See you on another one again soon. Bye-bye.